Hello friends, I'm going to talk about parameterization in this module here. We'll talk about parameters, the significance of parameters, why do we need them, how do we create parameters, how to use existing parameters, and we'll talk about the parameter list and parameterization options. So let's begin. I'm going to create a small script again. We'll be recording the workflow on WebTools application. As mentioned before also, I am going to be using WebTools application to explain the concepts because this application is made in such a manner that it addresses all that we need to know while we are writing Vuegen script. However, we can use any other application, but HP recommends to use the application that you own. HP does not recommend to use any website which is, for example, youtube.com. You cannot do performance testing on any live website. You should not be doing it. It is against the, recommendations. So I will record a small flow. Okay. So what I'm doing in this flow is I'm going to sign up a new user. So I'll click on the sign up now link and I will say some username, user1, password is user, first name is user, last name is last, anything I'm giving, any value. Okay, so I've filled in this customer profile form and I continue. So it says thank you user1 for registering. So the user has been created. Now I click on continue. I have been taken to the welcome page, and then I sign off. So this is a small workflow where I'm creating a new user, checking the welcome page, and signing off. Okay, I'll stop the script recording here. So I have got the script now. This step takes a little while to generate the script. Okay, now we've got it. So nothing more has happened. It has placed the functions according to the user actions we've done. When we navigated to this URL, it has called web_URL function with certain arguments, and this will correspond to the user action of navigating to the this URL. And then we clicked on sign up now link. So the function call is web_link. To click on any link, this is the function we use. Again, we are submitting the form with after supplying the data, and the data over here is user1 as username, password, user, confirm password, user, and so on. Now the need for parameterization is this: that suppose you want to run the same script again, it will not be able to create the data because it will not be able to create the new user, because the user is already created with this value of username 1, and usernames are unique in any application. So that is the reason when you are going to do any such script where you require unique data, you will need parameterization. Unique data is not the only requirement. The other factors could be, other scenarios could be. Now suppose you have one application and you want on that application you have multiple roles. For example, it is a role-based application. Admin can log in, guest can log in, a user, normal user can log in. For all the logins, you see different pages. Okay, so if you have to test the login functionality for this application, you have to make sure that you provide all kinds of all roles login IDs so that everything can be checked. Okay. So for that reason, you either can do one thing. You can create 3 scripts for 3 different roles, or you can have one script and can provide data from an external file, 3 different data sets from external file, and you can run the same script. So what we'll do is, with the same script, you can test 3 different set of data. Third reason is, if you do not want to have any constant in your file, in your script. For example, there are sometimes dates included when you're booking tickets. You of course book from this date to this date, right? So when you want to not have constants in your script, you want to parameterize your fields, your data. Okay. Now see. Now let's see how we parameterize this username, because username is the only field that needs to be unique in this case. Okay. So we have to give it. We have to make a unique parameter username. What you do to make it unique is, to make it a parameter is, you double click on this value which you want to parameterize. Okay. After that, you click on right click on this value and say replace with a parameter. A select or create parameter pop-up will open up. You have to provide the name of parameter. What is the name that you want to give this to parameter? You say it is a username. So you say username, and parameter type by default is file. Let this stay as file. We will explain file and more parameter types in further classes. Original value is user1. So whatever hard-coded value was there, whatever constant value was there that you double-clicked, that you selected and right-clicked, that value will be taken as original value. Okay. Simply you can say OK, and this parameterization will be done. But before that, I would want to show you what is there in properties. Click on properties and you will see the properties for this parameter. Parameter name is username. So for this parameter, you are going to see the properties. Parameter type is file. We have already seen this in the first pop-up. I said take the default, let it be file. We'll see about more parameter type later. Okay. File path. File path is the name of the file, and it is created in the same script folder. So my name of the script is noname29. Inside that only a file is created, username.dat. The extension of the data file, the extension of parameter file is .dat. Okay. So this name is picked up from the parameter name. Whatever parameter name you give, that name .dat is the file that is created inside the script folder. Now when you click on create table, it will create a new data file, so and so. You say OK. So now it has created the data file, and in the data file it has created one column with value user1. So user1 was the value that was hard coded in your script and is now placed in this file. When I say close and I say OK, see this user1 value has been changed into parameter name enclosed in curly braces. So this is how parameters are replaced. Sorry, the value is replaced with parameter in your script. Okay, and you see there is a color code, it turns pink. So this is how you can see that the value has been replaced with a parameter, and the parameter is being picked up from a file called username.dat, which is stored in this script folder. Okay. Now if you want to see some more properties, or you want to go back to the properties window for this parameter, you just right click and say parameter properties. You will be taken to that window again, parameter properties. Okay. So similarly, suppose you want to create parameter for username also, first name also, you again double click and do right click, replace with a parameter. Okay, same process, you can continue and create as many parameters as you want. But another thing is, suppose I want to parameterize this first name field. I will do right click, replace with the parameter, and I will say this is first name. Now as per the rule, what will happen is it will create a parameter file called firstname.dat. Whatever parameter name you give, .dat is the file name that is generated. But I'll say OK. So it has generated the file name firstname.dat. Let's see. This is the file name and this is the value. But what is happening? You see, if I have 10 parameters and I parameterize all of these, I will have 10 files. Parameter 1.dat, parameter 2.dat, 3.dat. So in a way, in my script, I have nothing but bunch of files, and each file is having one value, or just many rows of the same column. Okay. For example, in the same file username.dat, I can add rows to it. I can add multiple rows, user2. So what is happening? I am collecting files if I make one file per parameter. So the idea is to club multiple parameters into one file. Okay, so let's see how I can change this first name parameter, how I can not use this first name.dat file, and how I can put the parameter into username.dat file. So eventually my aim is to have one file and have two parameters in the same file. Okay, so I'll go to parameter properties and I will use this file. If you click on this drop down, it will list down all the files containing in that script folder. So you click on username.dat and you add a column. So when you add a column, it is automatically giving you the column name as first name. Okay, you say okay and just put the value, whatever was there in that file, it will put that value here. So what you have now is, I can delete this column, delete this row. So what you have is, you have one file called username.dat, and in that you have two columns, username, first name, user1 and user. Okay, so what you have done is, you have pointed this parameter to username.dat, and that value is being picked up from column number 2. You can see here, select column 2. So 2 column is first name. So this is where it is picking up the value from. And this file still exists. First name.dat still exists. You can delete that file because now we are not pointing to that file anymore. So we are only using one file. Similarly, this name was user. First name was user. And if you notice, the password and confirm password field are also user. So what I can do, I can reuse the parameter. I can use the existing parameter for these two fields. So this is how I'm showing you how to use existing parameters. For using existing parameters, double click on that value which you want to parameterize and say use existing parameters. So which parameter you want to use for password? First name, because the value in first name is user. Okay, so here I've done first name, and for this also I'll be using existing parameters. So this way you can create a new parameter, you can use an existing parameter, and you can club various parameters in one file. Instead of having separate file for each parameter, you can have one file and create and can reuse parameters. You can use existing parameters, and you can use one file and have all the parameters listed in it. Now let's see program to see if it runs fine. Is the parameterization successful or not? It is not able to log in. Okay, why? Because when this script is going to do sign up, and the sign up has already happened with this username. If you right click and see the properties, you see with this user1, the registration is already done. Now again, if you use the same value, the registration will fail. So what I'll do is I'll change this value here. Okay, you can right click and go to parameter properties. You can change the value here from here, or you can do nothing. You can open this file. You can open this username.dat file with Notepad. So you say edit with Notepad. The same file is being opened to you in Notepad, and here you can change. Okay, and if you want to put more data, say I want to create two users, user3, and that first name is user, then also I can edit in Notepad, add that value in Notepad. When I close it, you'll see the value is automatically added into this parameter properties editor. Okay, this is the editor. The values already come. So there are two ways. You can directly manipulate values in this editor, or you can edit with Notepad. So either way. Okay. So I'm now currently getting away with this row. I'm only going to be using this first row and run the script. So I've changed the username to make it unique. So it will be now using user2. Okay. So the user2 has been created successfully. Okay. It has been created successfully. So which means parameterization is fine. Now where do we check as to what parameters were substituted in place of username, first name, first name? Okay, so let's go back and do some settings so that we are able to see this replacement of these parameters in our log, in this replay log. So for this, what you need to do is you go to runtime setting. The last icon over here or shortcut key is F4. Go to runtime settings and you under this general you will see log. In log you check this second option over here, extended log, and say parameter substitution. So whatever parameter is substituted will be shown to you in replay log. So I am running it again. Oh, I did not change the user again, it will error out. Let's see. Even it will error out later, but it will do the substitution before. It will show us what is substituted in place of username. So in username, it is picking up the value user2, first name user, user, user. We have used the same parameter first name for password and confirm password. It is not an ideal situation. You can also create new parameter for password and confirm password. Okay. So let's change the parameters again so that we are able to run this. Okay. So where did I open this list from? Instead of right clicking on this saying parameter property, I can also open the parameter list with this icon over here. Shortcut key is Control L. Open parameter list. So when you click on it, you will be shown the same parameter properties list in parameter properties window, along with list of parameters that you have created for your script. So these two are the parameters that I have created for my script. When you click on that parameter, corresponding property window will be shown to you. When I click on username, correspondingly I am able to see the properties for this parameter. Now I have already changed this value to user3 and I say close and I run it. Now when I run it, it will run successfully. At the same time, in the replay log, it will show me what value it substituted in the place of username and in first name. Okay. So it says username was taken as user3, user, user, user. So this extended log feature is helpful to us in a way we can know what parameters got substituted. In this example, we had only one parameter. In the file, we have only one parameter. We can have any number of parameters in the file. We can keep adding rows and keep putting data into it, so that we can instruct Vuegen to use some random values. So that is also possible. So let's see. Let's just analyze this replay log. If you see this replay log, you see that the script starting from user_init and user_init ended. So first, it is obviously going to start user_init and going to run it once. Then begins user. Then running of user starts, and then an iteration starts. Now coming to the point of iteration, and if you notice, action is only run under iteration 1. After iteration 1 has begun, action has begun after it. So action 1 is inside iteration. Now what is an iteration? Iteration is how many number of times you want to run this script. Okay. For example, if I did not have this restriction of giving unique names, this flow requires unique names, so I am not able to run multiple iterations with the same data. However, I can run this script multiple times if I have different set of data. So this is where I am going to use the parameterization, but before that I will show you how to change the iteration. Okay. So from here, from runtime settings, if you go to run logic, this is the first drop down talks about number of iterations. The number of iterations is nothing but number of times to repeat this user action. Specifically, this action section of the script will be repeated these many number of times. If I put it 2 or 3, what will do is it will repeat the action part thrice. If you see this diagram below, just see this tree structure here. It says the script has init section, run section, and end section. Init section has user_init, run has action, and user_end section has user_end. Now, if iteration was 1, see, run all these three are run once. Anyways, user init and end will run only once. If I change the iteration to 2, the multiplication factor is with the run section, with the action. So whatever iterations I do, those iterations will be implemented with action and not with the other sections. So if I say 3, so what will happen? It will run this script, the action section of the script, thrice. But when I run it thrice, for the first time it will find unique data, it will run fine. But for the second and third time, if I repeat it with the same data, it will not run fine because it is expecting unique username to sign up. Okay. So for this, in this situation, what I need is parameterization. Okay. It is good that I have parameterized. Now what I need to do is I just simply need to add some values, some more rows. So what I do is I edit with Notepad and I copy paste this data value. Okay, I'll make it user 5, user 4, user 5, and user 6. But remember, when you are editing with Notepad, you have to bring the cursor down. Don't get the cursor here, just put one enter and get it down. Don't put another enter, because if you have a blank space, blank row, it will take it as a data value, but it will not put any data. It will take it as a blank data value. It's not a good idea, so just put your cursor down. So if you just put do your what do you call, your down key, the cursor should not go down. The cursor should only be in the next row, in the blank row. Okay. So I will save this file and see these three data have been populated in this editor in property in parameter properties window. Now I will say close. So I have 3 iterations to be done. From runtime setting, you can see that I have 3 iterations to be run for this script, and I have 3 unique data. Okay, 3 data set as 3 values have already populated in my parameter file. So now when I run my script, see what happens. Only the action part will be iterated over. So the first time took user 5, we saw user 4, 5, and 6. So let's analyze this replay log. See, in the first iteration has begun. The first iteration, it has taken user 4. The second iteration, it took user 5. And third iteration, it took user 6. So depending on certain logic, depending on what row in which manner should it select the next row, like for example over here we have taken sequential, so it took the values sequentially from this data file and iterated over 3 times. Okay. The reason, the significance of getting this parameter substitution value in the replay log is because you are not using sequential, using something else, and you want to know whether the substitution was right or not. It will help you know, it will help you see what values got substituted. So this is a good feature. Like when you are doing parameterization, it is a good idea to turn on this setting in log. Go to extended and parameter substitution. Turn on this setting. It will be a good help for you, to debug if there is any problem with parameterization. So this is how we have created parameters. We have used existing parameter list, existing parameters, and we also have talked about parameter list that is open through Control L, and you can check out the list. Whatever parameter you select, correspondingly you see the value. Okay. In this case, they are all getting fetched from one user file, one data file. That is why you don't see much of difference in the screen. Suppose we had different files. We had different files for first name. For example, if I point it to first name again, you see the view on the right side changes. Okay. So it is a useful thing. Now you don't have to every time go into the code and do right click and parameter properties. Instead, you can go to parameter list. All the list of parameters will be shown, and correspondingly whatever you select in the left and the right, you'll see that view. Okay. The last topic over here is parameterization options. Now, if you notice that the parameters have a special, have a special color here. They're turned in pink. They turned pink, and they have been enclosed in curly braces. Now, this is just a configuration that you tell Vue.gen that when I use this parameter, kindly change it to this way. Check, please put them into curly braces. This is just a configuration. You can change this configuration. Suppose you don't want to use curly braces, you want to use something else. What you do is you go to Tools, and in General Options, you have this parameterization option here. The first tab is parameterization. Now it is talking about parameter braces. Suppose you don't want to use this, you want to use curly braces. You can also use square braces. Okay. So depending on what you do, automatically your parameters will be changed. Okay. So this is how I can run this script and still be fine, because from the parameter options I have asked it to, oh, I have not changed the data. So I should have changed the data and it should have run fine, but the substitution you can still see it is picking up the value, the correct value. Okay, so this is about parameter option. I'm changing it back to default. So when you say default, automatically curly braces are being replaced. Okay, and the file and the script also changes now. So this is about manually you double click, you select the value and create parameter. There's another way of creating parameter using programs. For example, I'll create a new action where I can show you that. Action 2. If I want to create a parameter using the function call, it is LR_save string. So it is a string type of parameter that I'm going to create and save it in a parameter. So what is the string I want to save? For example, I want to save this string LoadRunner, and the parameter is, since it is a parameter, I'm starting this variable name with P and then tool. The name of the tool is LoadRunner, for example. So what this statement will do, it will create a parameter called pTool, and it will put value LoadRunner into it. And this specifically is a string kind of parameter. It is holding string values. Now, if I want to use this value anywhere, I will use it in the same manner. Within curly braces, within curly braces, you will write pTool, so you can use this parameter anywhere in your script. Okay, and how do you get the value of parameter? Of this parameter is in the same manner. You say LR_eval. You have to use a special function to evaluate the string, because it is not like a general variable. It is a special variable created using LR function. So you use this kind of syntax to get the value. Now you want to print this value, so you will have to put LR_output message, and then it is a string message, and at the end you will close this message call. So this way it will first run action and then action 2. I'm interested in when it runs to action 2. Okay, let me scroll down the replay log to show what it printed. So see, action 2 did not run, or action 2 will run in the first one. Action 3, iteration 3. Okay, why did it not run the action? Let me go to run logic to see. It is supposed to run action 2 also. Try. So, okay, just for simplicity, I'm not running this action for this one. Let's see what it does. So I'm asking it to run only action 2. Okay, so it has shown over here. It says saving parameter pTool. LoadRunner is being saved in pTools parameter, and wherever it sees LR output message, it is messaging out a LoadRunner. Okay, so this way also you can create parameters programmatically. But whatever parameters that you create programmatically, you will not see it here in the parameter list. They are just there when you are when you're running your function, running your action. Okay. So now you have created the parameter. You have allocated some memory to this parameter. You have put value at the end of the program, at the end of the aspect. You must free the parameters. So the command is free. Wait, it is LR underscore. Wait, I guess I've forgotten this function free parameter or something. Let me just get some help because I've forgotten how to free the parameter. So what I do is I can go to search and I can say LR underscore save string. So when I'm saving string, I should go to index. So see what happens is when I'm saving a string, I am essentially creating a variable and putting some value into it. So I'm allocating some space. Using guide. How come it is getting me no result? Well, okay, I can do another thing. I can do F1 on this string. Okay, I've got this. Now here I see the list of all functions. There is one function that I'm looking for to free this parameter that I've created. So I'm scrolling up to remember. Okay, LR underscore free parameter. So this is the function. It deletes the parameter. The one that I've created with LR underscore save string is a dynamic parameter. It is created at the runtime and it resolves at the runtime. So I can free the parameter. You can go to example and you can check out how to free the parameter. So whatever parameter you create, you just free it. LR underscore free underscore parameter. So here is what I'm going to do is LR underscore free underscore. I'm amazed why come it does not come. It does not pop up over here parameter, and then the parameter name is p tool. So I have done this, and what will happen? It will freeing parameter. So you see there is a notification message over here. It says freeing parameter p2. So whatever memory was allocated in the beginning when you're saving the string, at the end of it, it is freed up. It's a good programming practice to free variables after you use. Okay. So that's it. That's it about parameters. We'll learn more about parameter types and other concepts behind parameters in the next section. Thank you.